The top stories tonight in Y News. The heads of state of the Philippines, United States, and Japan have called on China to stop using its Coast Guard in a coercive manner in South China Sea.
Former President Rodrigo Duterte vehemently denies the existence of any gentleman's agreement with Chinese President Xi Jinping concerning the contentious matter of the West Philippine Sea.
Former President Rodrigo Duterte reveals the potential whereabouts of religious leader group Apollo Quiboloy.
And a fresh wave of Russian missile strikes, labeled by Moscow as retaliatory, rocked multiple cities in Ukraine, leaving significant damage, particularly targeting major power grid facilities in the capital city.
Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Friday, the 12th of April 2024. Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the Philippines and in other parts of the world. I am Kathy Navarro. We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media channels. First in the news. Former President Rodrigo Duterte has denied the gentleman's agreement with Chinese President Xi Jinping regarding the issue of the West Philippine Sea. According to Duterte, he did not concede anything to China when he was still the President of the Philippines. Lalaine Moreno details why.
Former President Rodrigo Duterte has cleared that he never made a gentleman's agreement with Chinese President Xi Jinping during his state visit in China when he was still the president. According to the former president, it was just a verbal agreement to maintain the status quo and peace in the West Philippine Sea. The deal also involves not bringing any construction materials to repair or improve the BRP Sierra Madre in Ayungin Shoal. Despite the agreement, Duterte clarifies he never conceded anything to China, especially the country's sovereign rights in the West Philippine Sea.
The only thing I remember was that status quo. That's the word na walang galawan, no movement, no armed patrols there, as is where is, para walang magkagulo. I assure you that if it was a gentleman's agreement, it would always have been an agreement that would keep the peace in the South China Sea.
Duterte added that despite being oppressed, Philippines could not risk escalating tensions with China and cannot afford a war.
Mr. President, we would insist that that China Sea, or not the whole of it, but there is a part of the China Sea that belongs to the Philippines. And since I would want to get savings instead of importing it from the exporting country. Ako naman I will dig my oil there. I just want to let you know. Ito ang sagot ni Xi Jinping. I am afraid you cannot do that. Sabi ko, why, Mr. President? Diniretso ko na siya. I will get it from that portion of the Red China Sea that belongs to the Philippines. Sabi niya, please do not do it with the life of me. We are friends and I do not want to destroy that friendship. So what is in your mind, Mr. President? Sabi niya, because it would be in trouble.
Duterte also challenged President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. to repair the BRP Sierra Madre that was grounded in Ayungin Shoal.
Sabi ko kay Marcos, stop complaining and expounding on it. Do it and repair. Yan ang sasabi ko sa kanila. I challenge them na sila man sa gobyerno ngayon, di i-repair nila at gumawa sila doon ng mga bahay-bahay kung saan. If they are really ready for that. Gawain na nila ngayon gusto nilang gawin. I-patrol na nila yung Philippine Navy, the gray ships, and let us see what happened. Mr. President, I am challenging you to go to Alonan with the other ships and repair it. Di subukan nila. Kami takot. Ayaw namin ng gera. Go ahead. Bring in Japan and the rest of the ASEAN countries and let us see what happens.
Lelaine Moreno, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Former President Rodrigo Duterte reveals the possible whereabouts of religious group leader Apollo Quiboloy. He also advises the controversial televangelist to face the charges filed against him before the courts. Rosalie Cos will tell us why.
The controversial televangelist Apollo Quiboloy might be in Barangay Tamayong in Davao City. Former President Rodrigo Duterte revealed this during a late Thursday night press conference in Davao City.
Nandyan lang yan sa Tamayong. Malaki lang ang Tamayong. Ang Tamayong malaki yan, sa loob maraming bahay. Make sure na sa isang bahay nandyan siya. Because for every bahay, it should be a different search. You would have to get another writ. Iba-iba yan. Marami ang bahay na yan.
As a lawyer, he advised Quiboloy to face the charges filed against him before the courts. But if he thinks he will not be treated fairly, he said Quiboloy should not leave Tamayong.
As a lawyer, I would say that you can go to court and fix your case and post a bail ban. That would be an option. But if you don't think that you will get the fair deal with this administration, because they have been talking about Marcos and everything, huwag kang lumabas dyan sa Tamayong.
Quiboloy, as well as the Kingdom of Jesus Christ group which he founded, are reportedly having many properties in Barangay Tamayong in Calinan District, Davao. Meanwhile, the former chief executive denied that he is hiding Quiboloy in his house in Davao City.
Sama tayo doon sa bahay ko. And if you can find Quiboloy there, ano ba magkano ba binigyan ng 100? I'll make it 200,000 or 300 or even 500. Ibuhos ko na lang yung pera ko para maligaya kayo kung makita niyo si Quiboloy sa bahay ko.
Apart from the arrest order from the Senate for his refusal to attend Quiboloy's hearing, a regional trial court in Pasig City also issued an arrest warrant against the religious group leader for the case of qualified human trafficking. This is the second arrest warrant issued against Quiboloy. Previously, a court in Davao City issued an arrest warrant against the religious group leader for the case of child and sexual abuse. However, Quiboloy has not yet been arrested by the police. According to the police in Davao, they need precise information before conducting police operations. Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
All systems go for the conduct of the plebiscite in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region or BARMM tomorrow, April 13. 89,594 registered voters or residents are expected to vote whether to ratify or not the creation of 8 new municipalities in the region. These are municipalities of Pahamudin, Kadayangan, Nabalawag, Old Kaabakan, Kabalawan, Malidegao, Tugunan at Ligawasan. The Commission on Elections or COMELEC said that the voting time starts at 7 o'clock in the morning until 3 in the afternoon. Final command conference for the security preparation was done last April with the Philippine National Police and the Armed Forces of the Philippines, among the others. The gun ban is still effective in the region from March 14 to April 20, 2024. Meanwhile, the liquor ban is also effective starting tonight until the voting is finished tomorrow.
And for the news abroad, a new wave of Russian missile attacks in what Moscow described as a retaliatory strike blasted multiple cities in Ukraine and has completely destroyed major power grid facilities in the capital. Officials say the energy system in northeastern, southern, and western regions were also hit. Ann Gonzalez tells us why.
Explosions were heard almost everywhere in Ukraine as Russia unleashed a fresh wave of drone strikes in what it described as a retaliatory attack affecting multiple cities and damaging significant infrastructure. The strike had completely destroyed the biggest thermal power plant near the capital Kyiv, a senior official at the company confirmed. Other power generating facilities in various regions, including the one in Odessa, was also severely damaged. Ukrainian officials from north, south, and west regions have reported that the blast hit residential districts, high-rise buildings, government offices, dormitories, schools, shops, and cafes, while 6 people were killed and 11 wounded in Kharkiv. Moscow used more than 80 missiles, according to Kyiv, and warned that Ukraine might run out of air defense munitions if Russia keeps up the intensity of its strikes. President Volodymyr Zelensky condemned the attacks as terror and restated the need for air defense support from the West. Ann Gonzalez, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
We'll share more global stories with you later. For those watching our live streaming on YouTube, please click the subscribe button you see on your screen and ring the bell for notification. You may also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Expect a stronger alliance between the Philippines, United States, and Japan regarding economic matters and maintaining security in the Indo-Pacific region following the recent Trilateral Meeting in Washington, D.C. Nel Maribohok reports.
The heads of state of the Philippines, United States, and Japan have called on China to stop using its Coast Guard in a coercive manner. In a joint vision statement released on Thursday night, Eastern Time, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., U.S. President Joe Biden, and Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida expressed their serious concerns over China's aggressive behavior in the South China Sea. The 3 leaders mentioned their concerns over the repeated obstruction of Chinese vessels to the resupply mission of the Philippines in the Ayungin Shoal or Second Thomas Shoal. To address these security concerns over the Indo-Pacific region and to improve interoperability between the 3 countries, leaders have agreed to start joint maritime exercises in 2025. Based on the joint statement from leaders of the 3 countries, they pledged to strengthen their cooperation in efforts to promote domain awareness, along with humanitarian assistance and disaster relief. Among the initiatives planned out are combined training with the Southeast Asian regional partners and a Japan-Philippine-US humanitarian assistance and disaster response exercise. The exercise could possibly be integrated into trilateral or multilateral activities, including Balikatan 2025, in a bid to ensure that the countries are prepared and able to work together through any crisis or contingency. The US and Japan also made a commitment for the continued support to the Philippine Coast Guard's capacity building, including through Japan's recent provision of 12 Coast Guard vessels and plans to provide 5 additional vessels to the Philippines. During the Trilateral Meeting, the U.S. President reiterated the commitment of his country under the Mutual Defense Treaty.
I want to be clear. The United States defense commitments to Japan and to the Philippines are ironclad. They're ironclad. As I've said before, any attack on Philippine aircraft, vessels, or armed forces in the South China Sea would invoke our Mutual Defense Treaty.
While the 3 countries succeeded in initiating the trilateral meeting, President Marcos called on Japan and the United States to expect more challenges ahead.
But this meeting can be just a beginning. Facing the complex challenges of our time requires concerted efforts on everyone's part, a dedication to a common purpose, and an unwavering commitment to the rules-based international order.
Nel Maribuho, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
A lawmaker has confessed that he owns the number 7 protocol license plate from a vehicle that was apprehended in EDSA Busway yesterday, April 11. In a statement, Senator Francis Cheese Escudero admits the use of the Senate protocol plate was unauthorized, saying that the vehicle was being driven by a family member's driver. He adds that the protocol license plate was abused because vehicles bearing such plates are also prohibited to use the busway. The senator says he has directed the driver to appear before the Land Transportation Office or LTO to comply with the show cause order and to face the charges for the violation. Escudero notes that he does not personally use the number 7 protocol license plate issued to him, adding that the plate involved the incident will be surrendered to the LTO. The lawmaker commends the authorities for ensuring that traffic rules and regulation in the metro are being observed by all motorists regarding their rank or position. Escudero apologizes to the public and to his fellow lawmakers over the incident and has committed to ensure that the protocol plates issued to him are used properly.
The Philippine Navy honors the 2 pilots that died in a helicopter crash in Cavite City yesterday. An investigation committee has also been formed within the Naval Air Wings to focus on determining the cause of the fatal incident. Ryan Lacanlale will tell us why.
The remains of Lieutenant Gen Kyle Bores, the pilot of the crashed helicopter, and Ensign Iza Leona Takad, its co-pilot, arrived at the libingan ng mga bayani in Taguig City early this morning, April 12. They were welcomed by Chief of Navy Staff Rear Admiral Jose Maria Ambrosio Espeleta. The 2 were given arrival honors in recognition of their heroism.
Today, nag-set up ng arrival honors for the remains of the 2 fallen comrades sa libingan ng mga bayani.
According to the Philippine Navy, both pilots had extensive experience in flying helicopters, which made yesterday's incident all the more surprising and tragic for them.
Si Commander Bores is isang batikang naval aviator that we have. Actually, na-deploy na si Commander Bores sa buong kapuluan. That's how experienced he is. Ngayon naman si Ensign Takad, knowing that she is now a student pilot on board an R-22, ibig sabihin nito, sir, tapos na to ng basic pilot training. Ibig sabihin piloto na to, sir, na nag-specialize na lang sa helicopter.
The Philippine Navy has formed an investigation committee with the Naval Air Wings to focus on determining the cause of the helicopter crash. The AFP is also processing the benefits that the brave families of the fallen soldiers may receive. Financial assistance will be provided to their families, and if any of them have siblings who wish to enter the service, they will also be assisted.
meron din tayong assistance in terms of baka meron silang mga kapatid na gustong pumasok din sa serbisyo, no? Tinutulungan din natin yan na magkaroon ng possibility to be part of the armed force din. Oo, yung meron din tayong mga educational grants, no, sa pag meron silang anak, gano'n. Meron silang iba't ibang options, so to speak, from the Armed Forces of the Philippines. Meron tayong system for that.
As of now, the remains of the two pilots are in mortuary of the libingan ng mga bayani. Their families declined to face the media personnel for now. However, according to the Philippine Navy, the brave families plan to bring the remains back to their province. Ryan Lacanlale, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
The Department of Education, or DepEd, has announced that all public schools across the country are going to implement asynchronous classes or distance learning on April 15 to 16, 2024. This is to enable students to finish remaining assignments, projects, and other tasks as the end of the school year draws near. All public school staff, both teaching and non-teaching, will also not to be obliged to report to their designated stations. On the other hand, events planned by the division offices of the regions and schools, including the Regional Athletic Association, meets the other divisional or school-level activities, might go forward as planned. Lastly, although private schools are not subject to these guidelines, they are permitted to comply with.
In the latest data from the Department of Education, or DepEd, more than 7,000 schools throughout the country used alternative delivery mode of learning, or ADM, instead of face-to-face classes. This is also to protect children from the effects of heat. In Region 1, according to DepEd, 713 schools are implementing ADM, and 90 schools are in Region 2. There are 1,903 schools under ADM in Region 3 and 264 in Region 4A. In Region 4B, DepEd data shows that 268 schools are implementing ADM and 664 in Region 5, while there are 862 schools with the same education setup in Region 6. A total of 870 schools moved to ADM in Region 7 and 164 schools in Region 8. Region 9 suspended face-to-face classes in 230 schools, and 11 schools also implemented ADM in Region 10. In Region 11, DepEd says 75 schools are under ADM, while 488 schools have suspended on-site classes in Region 12. In the National Capital Region, 311 schools have also suspended personal classes and moved to ADM, while 167 to CAR. No more classes suspensions in Region 13, according to DepEd. Based on the department's last record, more than 3 million students are also affected by the extreme heat in the country.
The Metro Manila Council has decided to defer the start of 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. adjusted schedule of local government employees by May 2. JP Nunez tells us why.
To give more time to prepare for the transition of adjusted working hours to local government employees in Metro Manila, instead of April 15, the 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. schedule will be moved to May 2.
More than 2 weeks will be enough time for the public to know that there will be indeed changes in the work hours.
Metro Manila Council Chairman and San Juan City Mayor Francis Zamora also mentioned that when the new working hours will be implemented, there will be skeletal force in frontline services who will cater clients beyond 4 p.m. The Metropolitan Manila Development Authority, or MMDA, expects that it will make a significant impact to traffic, especially during rush hours. He mentioned that 22% of more than 500,000 employees in Metro Manila, including private sector, doesn't have to travel at the same time. This could also lead to public transport decongestion as the local government employees will go home earlier. MMDA said the new working schedule will not affect the existing number coding scheme.
Before mag-effect yung coding, nakapasok na sila. So, magagamit po nila yung kanilang mga sasakyan. Ganon din po pag uwi nila sa hapon, 5 o'clock pa lang magsisimula ang number coding. So, 4 o'clock alis na sila. By the time nakauwi na siguro sila.
Meanwhile, to other local government employees, they will now travel earlier than their usual schedule. But it would be beneficial as they may go home earlier and they project that commuting will be easier.
Mas okay pong maaga kaysa kasi may minsan traffic din po.
Oo, mas madali siya kasi hindi na din magkakasabay-sabay lahat. Kasi, di ba yung mga pinatupad pa lang naman yun is mga government employees pa lang naman, hindi na magkakasabay-sabay din. At saka malilesen na din yung pagiging pagkakasiksikan.
JP Nunez, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
And in other global news, some airlines trade group and unions in the United States have called for a pause on more flights between the country and China. The groups cited China's advantage by continuing to access Russian airspace as being anti-competitive. Rodrigo will tell us why.
A pause on additional flights between China and the United States have been called for by major U.S. airlines and aviation unions from the Biden administration. The call by the groups was based on allegations of anti-competitive policies of the Chinese government. United States trade group Airlines for America and aviation unions, including Airline Pilots Association, Allied Pilots Association, and Association of Flight Attendants, wrote a letter to Secretary of State Anthony Blinken and Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg. The groups are calling for pause on additional passenger flights between the U.S. and the People's Republic of China, citing China's advantage by continuing to access Russian airspace as being anti-competitive. U.S. carriers stopped using Russia's airspace when it invaded Ukraine in early 2022. The U.S. Transportation Department announced in February that a boost on China weekly round-trip U.S. flights from 35 to 50 could be expected from March 31. Airlines are anxious about the rapid pace of increasing flights and are worried the Biden administration could increase or even double the permitted weekly flights by Chinese carriers to 100. Meanwhile, U.S. passenger airlines were also authorized to fly 50 flights per week but are not currently using all the flights. In a separate letter, on the other hand, Representative Mike Gallagher and Raja Krishnamurthy of the House Select Committee on China also urged the government not to approve more flights until China abides by its existing bilateral agreement and passenger demand begins to recover. They wrote that China's anti-competitive commercial advantage should not be allowed to increase without reciprocal parity for U.S. carrier-operated routes to China. The representative also added that American passengers must not be exposed to unnecessary security risk by traversing Russian airspace. Before COVID-19 travel restrictions were imposed in early 2020, more than 150 weekly round-trip passenger flights were allowed by each country. Up to August 2023, only 12 flights per week were flying between the U.S. and China. This gradually increased to 18 in September, 24 in October, and 35 flights in November. Merjo Malariado, UNTV News and Rescue, we serve the people, we give glory to God.
San Francisco-born Orenthal James Simpson, known as O.J. Simpson, who gained fame as a college football star and later as a National Football League or NFL player, passed away at the age of 76 after battling cancer, his family confirmed. Simpson, known to fans as the Juice, died surrounded by his children and grandchildren, according to a statement released by his family posted on social media platform X, formerly known as Twitter, requesting privacy and grace during this time of transition. Simpson's health had surfaced in February, suggesting he was battling prostate cancer and received hospice care with chemotherapy treatment. However, he later denied the claims of being in hospice care in a video posted online, but did not address whether he had been diagnosed with cancer. The former NFL player's legacy was further altered in the 1990s following the brutal murders of his ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and her friend Ronald Goldman. The tragic incident thrust Simpson into the spotlight as a murder suspect, tarnishing his once glowing sports career as the investigation led to a high-profile trial in 1995, famously dubbed as the trial of the century, broadcasted across the nation. Meanwhile, Simpson's case sparked intense debate, with some accusing the Los Angeles Police Department of racial bias in their handling of the investigation, as others pointed to Simpson's financial resources as factors in his acquittal. Despite this, a belief bolstered by a jury ordering him to pay $33 million to Goldman's family, which were damages that was never paid in full. Goldman's father, Fred Goldman, described Simpson's death as no great loss and simply a reminder of Ron being gone all these years. And those are the reasons behind the news in other parts of the globe.
And before we close, we will leave you with the word giving glory to God from the book of Romans chapter 14 verses 7 to 8. It says, "For none of us liveth to himself, and no man dieth to himself. For whether we live unto the Lord, and whether we die unto the Lord. Whether we live therefore or die, we are the Lord's." And those are the reasons behind the news, April 12, 2024. Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I am Mavian Dog, live from Australia.
And because we need to know, we will always ask why. I am Kathy Navarro, live from Qatar. We serve the people, we give glory to God.